Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between, and of course, everyone else. I'm Nihilana. I'm going to be playing Kerbal Space Program today. For those of you that have this game, thank you, because the developers have been pretty awesome about everything in the past. I don't know about recently. I think I remember seeing some drama about it, but I've always enjoyed this game, and they've wound up actually developing things to work on Mac and Linux too, which is a big plus in my book in general. So you essentially play, this is your own NASA simulator sort of thing, and these are Kerbals. It's Kerbal Space Program. So we're going to go ahead and start a new game. We're just going to do a science one because we want a little bit of a challenge, but we don't want to, I don't want access to everything. That way we get some sense of progression. So let's do the Kerbal Aeronautic and Space Administration. Yes. Oh, these are new. I haven't seen this. I don't have crew members. Yeah, let's just do normal. Science board. Actually, let's kick this up just a little. Let's just do that. Everything else, resources and re-entry heating and everything, we're going to leave that as is. That way we can get a little bit further for the knowledge that we wind up gaining, but we're not, making things too easy for us. So let's go ahead and start this up. Here we go. Nice to meet you. I'm Gene Kerman, flight director, and your guide for this quick introduction. I'm not going to read the whole thing because I'm pretty sure that you all can read just fine. Mouse button to move the camera, or use the arrow keys, and that's just kind of like panning. And click over space. Cool. Oh, okay. I guess that's something in like career mode or something. Let's click where you head inside. More information. Check out training session. Okay, cool. So in the science mode, you essentially launch vehicles and and then you gain science by kind of launching them off and then coming back. So once you gain science points, you can come in here and you can gain. You essentially spend the science points in order to gain new stuff. We'll get to all of that here in a little bit. You can also make space planes, which is pretty cool, but I'm terrible at that, so I'll probably do a video on that later. This is usually pretty much only useful for like once you need more Kerbals. And you've got like a number of them like up in space and whatnot. You need more in order to be able to keep going. That's what you need. This is pretty much only used in career, like full career, not just science mode. And this is where you can see all the trajectories of all the planets and whatnot as they relate to Kerbal. This is Kerbin. Kerbal, like Sol, is there. So here is Kerbin, and you've got the moon, and you've got Minmus, which is a little bit further out, like super, super small. It's tiny. It's tiny. Just trust me. It's tiny in comparison to like the moon. Actually, I don't think the scales here are properly represented. Anyway, so. And then from here, we've got these unknown objects, which are like asteroids and whatnot, which you can go out and try to mess with. So you can like redirect them and move them about and whatnot. Put them in like a stable orbit, because I think these are like resources, which is pretty cool. And then there's other planets in the system too. Elu, Jewel, Drez, Eve, and Duna. Oh, yeah, and then there's Moha, which is kind of closer here in the center. And each one of them has their own moons. Let's see, Duna has just one, Ike. And let's see. Drez has... Oh. None. Who has a bunch? I know one of these has a bunch. Is it Jewel? There we go. Yep, it's Jewel. Okay, so if Jewel has like this giant gas, this is a gas giant, and it's got Pole, Bop, Tylo, Lathe, and Vol. Lathe looks like it's got water. That looks interesting. I've never been to Lathe. Should probably try and go to one of these at some point. But we're gonna go to the moon first. So let's exit out of here and let's go build something to get us to the moon. Ooh, that load. Okay. But first, before we can get to the moon, we gotta go through some basics. So we got a basic lander pod. Let's just strap some explosives on the bottom and see what happens. I think that's pretty much all we can do for this first run. Yep. Oh, okay, there's the mystery goo containment unit, which is one of your things that you use to gain science, so you'll put that there. And since this is we don't have a way of like separating this thing off. We don't want to like put too much on this thing because if it's too heavy, then it'll wind up like crashing into the ground after we deploy the parachute. But yeah, actually, let's throw on another thing of science. Let's read one here. We're gonna do some stuff before we actually launch off. So we also got some pretty powerful like building tools, which is cool. So we got this angle snap and whatnot, and you can have like 2 things, 3, 4, as you can see. But we only want 2 for this. Let's see. There was something else I was gonna do with this, and I can't remember now. Okay, anyway, we're just gonna go launch this thing and see what happens. And that's one of the things with this game. You have specific pilots, which you can actually I'll hope to show you next time in the building screen. But we have pilots, and if they crash land and they die, they're gone. They're gone. And Jebediah is legendary. He's always happy. Always happy. Even when he's about to die, he's like, I'm having fun! Which is, like, you'll see him dancing around the corner there later, I'm sure. So we're going to go ahead and get some science, because we get some science just from sitting here on the pad. Let's go and get a crew report here on the ground, because we can grab a crew report up in the air later on. Probably not on this flight, but the next one. And let's go ahead and... Oh, yeah, these are solid rocket. These won't... This little gauge here, which I control with like shift and control, does jack all right now, because this is only for your liquid thrust. These are solid. So they don't do... You just turn them on and they go boom. Like that. Oh god. That was a bad idea. Okay. So actually that actually wound up kind of working in my favor. So while we're up in the air, let's go ahead and grab some science. That's worth 10, and so since we've already got another one while flying at Kerbin, it'll say it's worth 10.5, but it'll be worth a little less because we already have another one, because there's diminishing returns on that. And let's go ahead and pop this, because otherwise we might wind up having some problems. And then we can speed up time. You can also speed up time in order to make things go a little easier for you. Come on. Whoa. Alrighty. So let's chill out. Let's not spin so much. And let's go ahead and time warp it. And so like we're coming down at not slow speed. That's not fantastic. We might lose it. Yeah. Okay. Well, see? He's fine. He's happy. He's good. He's good. Can we roll this thing over? No. No. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to the cut engines or cut. Let's go back to the tracking station and recover him. And once we recover him, it'll give us a brief overview of it. The science, 5 data, 10 data, 10 data. But because the data value was 2.24 whenever we did it, so we got a little bit more, but nowhere near as much as we actually had originally. So then we got some other just from the launch pad, and just by surviving a flight, just in general, we wound up getting 7.5. But again, that will go down just for basic flights. So we got 27 science, and crew Jebediah has returned. So, okay. So now let's go to the research and development, and let's get some more stuff. One of the things that's going to be really important is stack decoupler. That way we can actually have multiple stages. So this is super important. Let's go ahead and grab one of those. This is our liquid fuel and a bigger solid fuel, and then a liquid fuel engine. So let's go ahead and grab that. We got 17 more, and these survivability. Oh, we got another science thing, so we always want to grab some more science whenever we can. And these are some parachutes and heat shields, so once we get up in the air, we can be a little bit more safe. That kind of expends our science. Let's go back in, and let's make a bigger ship. Now, to be fair, bigger ship does not always mean better, but it's always more fun. So let's go ahead and do another one. I probably should have just left that last part alone. Anyway, let's go ahead and put 2 of these on. A thermometer on. Oh, wait. Are still on dual. Let's do single and single barometric, because this is really only useful if we're actually in atmosphere. I remember a while back I had this while it was on the moon, and it was oh, there's no pressure, there's no data. It's oh, well, right, that's right, no atmosphere, doesn't have any information to read. So we're gonna at least do that for this one, and then we'll try it and see if they change that. But okay, so this is some basics. We're probably just gonna wind up going into space itself, just into orbit, or at least getting high enough out that it's kind of like orbit. So let's go ahead and do a decoupler. No, wait. Just in case. Thermal. Now heat shield, because if you come in too quick, you will burn and die horribly. Okay, so let's go ahead and that, and let's go with let's just stack a bunch of these off. Also, these are kind of funny. 200 miniature fuel tank made to even more adorable than its big brother, the T200. Handle stoically and with care. The little flavor text on these are kind of funny. For example, some of them are more serious, like that one. Widely used in many space programs, whether the need to save cash is greater than the need to keep astronauts alive. Small booster. Okay. There's some others that are oh, this piece was found on the side of the road, and it's wait, what? No, we don't need that yet. This is really useful for batteries and stuff. We don't need mess with that. Let's add landing strut, which we'll need that later, but we don't need that yet. I have yet to need any of these yet, but if you need to like vent heat off into wherever, these will radiate that heat off and keep things from overheating, which can happen. We don't need any of that, we've already done that. Okay, so we just need engines and whatnot at this point. So we don't have struts. Yet. Let's go with another structural. Oh no, we want that separate, but we want this to have there. So that, like, as soon as we separate off this lower part, it immediately activates this engine. So let's go ahead and go with, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna do a thing. There, and there, and there, and we're gonna grab this as a whole thing. Boom. And then we're gonna put engines on all of these. I have no idea how well this is actually gonna fly, but I don't care. Well, I care a little, but it's more important that this thing fly than anything else. Okay, let's get one of these, and let's go ahead and stick a bunch. 6 on. 1, 2, 3. Can I count? Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, I count. I can count. Wow. Okay. So we have a rocket. We are going to launch it. Smooth jazz. Wait. I want the smooth jazz back. Alright, fine, whatever. Okay, let's go ahead and make sure that stays there. When this decouples, we want to go ahead and activate all of those. Let's go ahead and put that there. And I really should have done this before, but I'm lazy and forgetful sometimes. Well, I'm less lazy on this part, but forgetful. So, ready, set, go! Oh, shit, I forgot to turn that. Okay, so the SAS, I don't know what it stands for, but it essentially helps keep it stable, which is what I didn't do last time, and it wound up kind of shooting off in, like, that direction. And you usually don't want to see this, because this means you're going too fast and you're getting a lot of resistance from the air around you. So let's go ahead and do that, and it's actually... So we are increasing in speed. Okay. So, and once you chop it, you can hop into, like, this map mode, which is kind of like the tracking station, but it's a little different. Which you can control your velocity and everything from here, or how quickly you're burning fuel. But you can also see, like, where your apoapsis, which is essentially the highest point of your arc, because that's all orbiting is just falling strategically, which is a fun little thought. So let's go ahead and angle that way. We're still in the atmosphere, so we got a little bit of resistance there. And let's go ahead and see how far up are we going to be going. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut the engines and drop that part off. Because in this universe, we have unlimited funding, which, oh, that would be nice. Like, I'm actually tearing a little. That would be nice. Anyway, so now we've got to wait until we get, like, so now we're kind of, like, no atmosphere. So let's go ahead and do a observe mystery goo. Goo! Wait. Hold on. What did that say? Review data. Seems to be getting very cold now. Let's keep that data. Okay, does this do anything different yet? Since we're... Oh, yep! Clumped up into a sphere. It also appears to become brittle. What? Okay. So, we're gonna keep that data. Let's go ahead and do a temperature as well. 12 science, heck yeah. And log pressure data. No way! Okay, as if it were in a vacuum. Okay. So, don't ask me why you can actually hear the sound of the rocket as if like it's from the camera and there is atmosphere, but just don't ask. What did I say? Don't ask. Okay. So, now we're pretty much like at the place where we need to be. So let's go ahead and burn. Let's burn nice and hard and see how much of an orbit we can get to. Because here there's no resistance, so it doesn't matter. So you can angle down a little bit and use some of the gravity of Kerbin. I don't think we're going to be able to get to orbit. But, still, we gained some science. And while we're up here, like 93,000 kilometers from the planet, let's go ahead and have Jebediah just kind of hop out for a second. Let's do an EVA report. Yeah. Okay. And we're going to have him let go. He's going to float around in space. Because this is one of the things you can do. So whenever you actually like land on one of the planets, you can, or the moon, you can essentially just like get out and go plant a flag and get some rocks, and you can do, I think you can do more now, but that's what I know I've been able to do. So we actually want to go ahead and flip this around. And while we're waiting on this to fall, so here, like, you've got your, it shows you like how much liquid or oxidizer you have left when each fuel tank. Oh, okay, got it. It just lists off the fuel, the tanks that we have. So we have the oxidizer, and it lists off the oxidizer in each one, and then liquid fuel in each one. But this just gives you your overall total. Ablator is that heat shield that we put on. Monopropellant is something we will mess with later, but you also have to deal with electric charge, which you can get like solar panels and whatnot. This music keeps cutting out on me, and I'm like, oh man, this is really cool, and then it just dies. Anyway, so electric charge, like every time you move the ship and whatnot, it'll use up electric charge, and the SAS winds up using electric charge in order to rebalance, as you can see. So you can get like solar panels and it'll like kind of automatically rebalance. It'll automatically get like charge as long as it can see the sun. I once had a ship in orbit around Kerbal that had it wound up dying as far as the electrical charge was concerned, and it wound up being oriented in a way that the side that had the solar panel was on the side that never faced the sun in the entire time it went around Kerbal. So it was just like, okay, this is now a ship that can recharge itself, but just won't. Which was pretty sad. It was a sad day. So yeah, let's go ahead and pop that out, and let's angle the ship a bit to here, because otherwise that might have exploded and we might have caused problems. So here's our heat shield, and it's sitting here just taking up the heat. And we can watch how much damage it's doing, or how much damage is taken. So you see we're slowing down a significant amount at this point, so we're getting less damage on it. And I mean, of course, you can see how quickly we're slowing down here too. So there we go. And now we're just gonna these I don't know if you noticed these turn like yellow or red depending upon whether or not it's okay to deploy them. When it's white, you're good to go. So let's go ahead and deploy that. And you can adjust like the minimum pressure to which these things will be safe to wind up deploying. Deploying, that was the word I was looking for. Deploying. And also the altitude that it'll fully deploy, which is useful for when you're landing on other planets, because I think other planets have different like atmospheric densities. I think all of them have like a slightly lower one or something like that, or like they're just different amounts. You were like popping all over the place. Let's chill out, buddy. Okay, so let's speed that up. And there we go. We hit 1,000, and it starts filling out and slowing us down. And we're down to about 6 meters per second, which is usually pretty safe for most things, and this blader won't wind up breaking or anything. And water is probably the safest thing to land in. Let's go ahead and speed this up a little bit, because otherwise we'll be sitting here forever. Cannot transmit science. Oh, crew control. Okay. Oh, oops. That made a weird sound. Okay, well, so now we go back to the tracking station and send out something to go pick up Jebediah. Cover. There we go. EVA report, mystery goo, Kerbin's upper atmosphere, space, temperature scan in space, atmospheric scan in space. Vessel after a suborbital flight, so it's not just a regular flight, suborbital flight, so it's not quite orbit, but it got up into, got up out of the atmosphere. And then we got Jebediah back. So let's go spend some of our science. Okay, so some real important stuff. These are not as important yet. These are usually going to be more important once we get to like much larger ships. Let's see. Yeah, these are bigger fuel tanks and a solid rocket booster. So this is what we want more than anything else, is a radial decoupler, which helps us kind of design ships a bit better. So let's go ahead and grab that. And another thing that's going to be really important is these launch stability enhancers and struts. You want struts. You really want struts. If you like it, you need to put one. If you don't want it to break, you got to put a strut on it. Just the answer. Always the answer is more struts. So let's go ahead and grab that too, and the general rocketry that we have is the slightly bigger solid fuel and another. We need these all anyway. But this other stuff's more important. These will be helpful for us whenever we want to go to actually like start landing on the moon, but we need some RCS and whatnot first. Which is what that monopropellant was. I'm seeing where that is. I think it's actually, it might be, yes, here it is. So, the other thing that we're probably going to want to grab before we go to the moon is this thing here. But we'll do like a flyby of the moon. We're all in the Apollo era now, kinda. Inline stabilizer, or we're going to be getting into the Apollo era. And these things, here's the monopropellant tank, and then these are the RCS thrusters, which essentially use monopropellant in order to like kind of, they're for finer control of the ship and are going to be really useful for like rotating the ship or stopping it in a lateral direction that's not one that a rocket is facing, which is going to be pretty important. So, I believe that covers us for now. And I think that is going to be what I'm going to call... Oh, wow, I feel terrible. I'm forgetting the era that came before Apollo. And I call myself... I call myself a science enthusiast, and I don't know this. Wow. I feel horrible. Anyway, thank you for watching. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, and of course everyone else. And I'll see you next time. Bye. Gemini. It's Gemini, you dense motherfucker, Lana. Okay. Bye.